what most people fall in this bracket. That shit's too scary. It's too scary to think about. I don't want to think about it. I'd rather be distracted by something meaningless. And, you know, you're putting yourself at risk to be taken advantage of and being manipulated when you do that. You gotta go out and get informed, folks. You gotta go check out the news stories for yourself. Don't just take one news source's opinion of what things are. Go double check your facts. There's a lot of really good sources on the internet that are less tinged with the corporate perspective. You know, the fear programming. They want trying to keep you in that little box. And use that discernment when you read. Not every news story out there is true. I mean, remember the old adage? Don't believe everything you see. Not everything on television is real. Nothing on television is real. It's all garbage, for the most part. Unless it's like HBO, where they have to. HBO is an art form. It's called home box office for a reason. It's film for the small screen, and I like that. I enjoy that. There's a lot of violence in some of those shows, but you know, again, that has to be taken with a healthy perspective. That yes, there is violence in the world, and yes, art does emulate what happens in the world, but sometimes it also influences what happens in the world. People forget that art is this amazing tool that affects more people subconsciously than the news does. What politicians do, what corporations do. Art is the key, folks. Art is the answer. Why do we remember Da Vinci? Why do we remember Michelangelo, Rembrandt? Because that was something of value, with truth in it, with meaning, with depth. Especially Da Vinci. Da Vinci was something else. That's another show, folks.
well, before you get going, because I know you gotta get going pretty soon. A couple more things. I remember you and I had a discussion about well, a lot of people don't say that word these days. MySpace.
Yeah.
Would you care to comment on what's going on with MySpace? Because I remember you told me about it, but I want the world to hear what you have to say about that.
Okay. A lot of people think that MySpace is dying. It's still generating a lot of revenue. It's not doing what it used to do, but it's the internet. You know, we have fads, just like anything. There's value there to MySpace for creative people. It's a hub for creative people. There's a lot of tools there to use. There's ways for artists to make money on that platform. And now there's potential talks, or this is just the rumor mill, folks. This is not. I don't have other than what a few articles that I've read and hearsay that's going on in the industry. Either Apple is going to buy it and integrate it with their P network, which would be really smart of them to do, or Zynga, which is a video game industry, is going to buy it up. Because of online gaming is so hot right now, and that seems to be one of the more active spheres of MySpace. So, I mean, if you're a young person out there, most likely you have a MySpace account. And I'm seeing a lot of activity on there right now. It's not dying. They tell you that it's dying, but everybody moves to Facebook. But guess what? Facebook isn't what it's cracked up to be, folks. All the privacy concerns there. I'm using, it's a tool. You can use it to your advantage, but ultimately, we've become dependent on these tools to operate when it shouldn't be that way. If you're networking, you should be speaking to these people firsthand over the channel of noise, a bunch of static and dribble, where the corporations are trying to leverage the popularity to get to people. But guess what? People don't want the advertising. They don't want it. It's annoying unless it's done tastefully and suited towards their needs. And for the most part, that's not what's happening on these forums, especially Twitter's. I don't want Nestle sending me friggin' updates on what's happening in the world of Butterfinger. I don't care. It's crap.
All right, could you also explain to the audience real quick exactly why is MySpace being sold? Why is Rupert Murdoch, the current owner of MySpace, why is he selling it? Because I remember you and I had a discussion too, and I think it'd be interesting if they find out.
He doesn't know what to do with it. He's an old world fogey. He doesn't understand technology. He doesn't understand universal consciousness. And the internet is a model of universal consciousness. It's multidimensional. It's very, very layered. He gets radio. He gets real estate, that sort of thing. And he saw it as a valuable, buy, but it's cost him more money in the long run to own that product than to monetize with it, I believe. I know they're still generating revenue there, but they've laid off hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of MySpace employees over the last year. I had a friend working at MySpace Music. He worked there for 4 years, and sorry, buddy, you got to go with everybody else in the office. Well, I was part of a similar layoff when I was doing development for News Corp. I had personal issues with working for that institution. But we live in a world where you need money to survive. And I saw that as an opportunity to get ahead without hurting anybody. So I took advantage of it. And ultimately I felt like I wasted a lot of energy because I'm a very passionate person and what I was working on had no value. It took most of my tenure to figure out that what I was working on was a waste. But by the time I knew that the end was imminent, I was at ease. I was like, okay, write me off, sure. I want to go do something else because this is tiring. I'm done with it. Moving on, I got more important things to do. There's a world opening up its eyes right now, and I want to be on the forefront to experience it firsthand.
Right. Well, that's good. And the thing about it is, so you're saying now that Rupert Murdoch now is just putting it on for sale, and that's the reason why MySpace has been reconstructed itself.
Yeah, well, it needed the facelift. When it was originally built, web standards weren't what they are these days. It's taken 10 years for web standards to be as rigid as an industry. Now you're seeing schools pop up for web design and stuff, and most of those schools are a waste of your money. I say go learn from books, go learn from online forums, from blogs. Start with your HTML and CSS and move on from there. Now I'm getting all geeky. But that was a big loser for I don't know how he feels about it. Frankly, I don't care. But I know that he's probably just confused. I saw another product that shows that what it does, these guys are as technology experts, were having this closed channel news source for your iPad, or maybe it wasn't an iPad, it was just a news pad, just for News Corp news.
All right.
Then you have to pay a premium subscription to use it. Hello? There's free news online anywhere you go. It's called an RSS feed. Hello? Subscribe. I can read the stories that I want to just by scanning the headlines. I'm not being force-fed this channel of garbled nonsense.
You know what, folks? That just kind of tells me a guy like Rupert Murdoch. I guess he's had his head so far up Reagan's ass for so long that I guess it's just tightened up a lot of things that he thinks, because obviously he has no fucking clue to what the hell's going on in the world, or what the hell he's doing, or how people really are, how they live their lives. Rupert, do yourself a favor. Reagan's been dead for years. Get your head out of his ass already, okay? And move on. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, folks. I'm being like this. Sorry. Whew.
Well, I understand. There's a lot of frustration there, and it's rightfully so, because there have been a lot of people hurt in that man's pathway for him to get where he is today. I'm sure, I'm hoping that in his formative years, when it comes closer to the end of this lifetime for him, that he opens up and realizes that there's a lot more to life than his own personal gain. There's a lot more to it. And putting these energies into these channels is a big waste. Now, you can either, I'm on the team of the community. I take care of my family. I take care of my brothers and sisters. I take care of my mom. I take care of my grandma. They need help. They call, Draven, I need a hand. Guess who's there? Me. I don't waste time. As long as my priorities are in alignment, and that what they're asking for isn't frivolous by any means, then I make the time to go take care of business. Go take care of your family. We need that. Even a lot of us, we don't like our families, but we're stuck with them. And but at this point, I want to bring up the Mark White Eagle video that people need to watch. What's happening is we're being taught to hate our own families, especially through television, the Disney Channel. Oh my God, somebody turn that one off. That was really awful. There's no family values. It's just they're teaching child idolatry. Shame. It's not. I think I've rambled quite enough.
Bottom line is, folks, basically what it is, what Draven was saying, Mark White Eagle, we interviewed this one particular shaman and a medicine man by the name of Mark White Eagle. You can go ahead and take a look at our interview with him at bearandrainbow.com. So that's where you can look at his interview. It's almost a 2-hour interview, so just see it and decide for yourself.
But it's fascinating, the sort of trials and tribulations that this man and his family has had to endure, and they're still enduring. Right now, I commend both Bear and Rambo for their activity and the willingness to be out there and go after these really tough topics. Because there are deep levels of conspiracy in every life. From just going from the grocery store to the gas station, back home, talking on your cell phone. There are deep levels of conspiracy there that most people are unaware of. And yes, some of it is very frightening. But if you're aware of it, then you can counteract just by being aware and then taking action with your own personal power.
And in order for that, folks, remember, you must also be willing to see the things that are scary sometimes. Even if they're scary.